This is my very first real guitar. It's a 1985 Les Paul Custom in black that I purchased in 1985 at Manny's.
What's this heel crack? Just kidding. Just slowly destroying you.
Was the binding coming off when you got it?
Oh, it's weird. Huh. That's probably fine.
And I got that guitar from doing. This is why I was why I was like, don't give Dave the guitar.
Well, this is for the new sheriff show that exists in my mind. It's a small town sheriff.
This just mean you're not interested in my guitar story?
No, I am. I just wanted to just give context to what that lick was.
So I bought it in 1985, and you know what 1985 was? It was before Guns N' Roses. So nobody wanted Les Pauls. You didn't want one. You had a Kramer. I had a Kramer.
1985 is when I got a Kramer, not to brag. Those were peak. I probably talked about it on this show, but yeah, I had a friend who wanted a Strat because no one wanted Fenders, no one wanted Gibsons, and I was like, you don't want a Strat, you want a Charvel. And the poor guy bought a Charvel. Charvels are amazing. It just wasn't right for him.
So no one wanted Les Pauls, and I went in. You might as well have been like buying. Whoops! I just kicked the mic. A zither, or like a lute. People, and so it was really not that expensive. I think it was $550.
New.
They were blowing them out, man. And I used money that I earned doing a French language Berlitz class where I was Pierre.
Oh yes, we've covered this.
We've talked about it, but in an
Coyle.
episode that actually went in the shitster of.
Wait, with the Donna Coyle episode is not coming out?
I don't think so.
Why? Because there was. What happened?
I think the video was no good.
Okay, I'm starting from scratch.
Okay,
then.
so
Pierre.
So I played Pierre.
Come over here.
I played Pierre in these
just
videos.
for context. So you played Pierre. Your language teacher got you this gig, right?
My French teacher.
Your high school French teacher?
Let's give her a different name.
Donna Strauss.
Yes.
Okay, so just to avoid lawsuits.
Yes, or just hurt feelings. So Donna Strauss is like, Tom, would you like to?
But you do not have to call me Mrs. Strauss. We're out of school hours. You can call me Donna.
Yes. And so
I'm just going to change if you get a little more comfortable, if you don't mind. That's Donna.
Would you like a ride with me to the studio?
Have you ever been to Paris, France?
So I did this thing, and I got this guitar, and I used it that year. I played at CBGB's in 9th grade in a goth band, and we passed the audition.
Did you have eyeliner?
The name.
No.
And
you know what? I would have to
passed?
check my phone. It was something weird. I got the name. You want me to look?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Did you have like a goth mullet?
The mullet came the next year. I think that this year I still had like just short. I have curly hair, so I just always.
Sure.
I was always just like, if I can kind of look like Steve Jones. The name of the band.
How did that work out in the end?
It worked out great for me. Hold on. The name of the band. I texted my friend Guy Smith. Do you know him?
I don't think I do. Who is he?
He is an artist, but he was the singer in this band. And the name of the band was Holy Infatuation. And which was
horrible.
On brand because the band
How did you just like wipe that from your memory or something?
Yes, I could not remember. I had to text him because
We're horrible. What's it? Holy Infatuation?
Yes.
We're Holy Infatuation.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was like. In the dark. Yeah, it was kind of like that. And I was playing a PV Special 130 amp.
Obviously going to be a reunion.
Yes.
A reunion soon. Huh?
The year before that, me and the same guy had a band called Addictive Manifesto. So it was definitely like a formula of like adjective.
Addicted. Like a kind of a sexy adjective and then a concerning.
Yes. That band had a song called "Life's a Bitch and Then You Die."
Wow.
That was 8th grade.
That's
So, but by 9th grade, I was in this goth band. But after that, I started to destroy this guitar.
yeah. There's a big scratch here.
Yeah, but I put like Seymour Duncans in it, and then when I got into Zakk Wylde, I put EMGs in it,
Oh my goodness.
and
Locking
locking
tuners.
Spurs.
Was that after the No Rest for the Wicked album?
Yes.
Wow.
And then more recently, when I was playing in a doom metal band called Saint Bastard, I tuned it down to C with 13s. This guitar's been through a lot.
Just a litany of horrible decisions.
Yes. And probably also 20 years in storage. So I got I found original Tim Shaw period correct pickups, which were cost more than the guitar when I bought it.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah. They sound awesome though. And I got a new pick guard made and I put on machines and I had it refretted by my good friend John at Sawmill Guitars. And he also put the whole thing back together.
Where are they at?
He's up in Hastings on Hudson.
Oh,
He's just a dude. He's like a personal. He works in his shop. There's no front. But he did a great job, and I'm totally into this guitar. And it weighs like 10.5 pounds.
It is pretty heavy.
It is.
But in a cool way.
And
It's
there it
10
is.
and a half?
Yeah.
I would guess 9.5.
Do you know that I lost
I
my
pride
luggage?
myself in my weight guessing of guitars.
I've told you I have a luggage scale to weigh guitars with.
No.
Yeah. I have like one of those luggage. You hang your suitcase on it to see if you're going to be over.
Why don't you just do that at the airport, and then if they say it's over, you just scramble and put stuff in your pockets?
That would be the case if I had bought it to weigh my luggage, but I bought it to weigh guitars.
Why would you do that? Just to know?
Yeah.
That's deeply concerning. Do you have a regular scale at your house?
Yeah, but I don't like balancing it on there, and like these.
Well, you don't. You step on the scale and you say, "This is how much I weigh," and then you hold the guitar and you step on again. And you say, "Now this is how much I weigh," and then you just do some simple math.
I seriously never thought of that. That is
Really?
amazing. No.
You went to Columbia,
Yeah.
my safety school, and you still don't. That's a basic math
Like of
thing.
all of the things that I've done, like when I weigh myself in the morning, I'll be like, "Well, I just drank a pint of water, so I subtract a pound." Because it's 16 ounces is a pound. But I never thought of doing that.
It
So
never occurred to you.
No.
That's so weird.
So I have a luggage scale thing, and I misplaced it, so I just got another one, and I don't think it's accurate.
Well, when it comes time to buy the third luggage scale, just do the thing that I taught you.
So do you weigh your guitars that way, or you've never weighed a guitar?
I've never weighed a guitar. What's to be gained?
I have to weigh guitars, but we don't have a regular scale in the shop, so I have to balance it no matter.
Get.
You want? Now I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
People ask.
I
don't.
just I
It's only
stand
if
behind
people
my
ask.
my standard my weight my just regular scale idea where you just step on it and then add the guitar.
But people really want to know, like, if it's like, especially if you're getting close, like if it's like 8.8 or 8.9 pounds.
Yeah, you can get a digital scale, the one that I mentioned earlier, the human scale.
Whoa, our guest is here.
Guest is here.
Yes. Imagine a world where only guitars mattered. The first professional guitar interview I ever did was with you in 1994, probably February or March, for Bloodline,
Oh my God. That was
Guitar World magazine,
Yeah, that's right. It's 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Unbelievable.
So isn't that crazy? I mean, and I'm not saying this I think like like you still had a child voice.
I did. I would have been 16, depending on what month. I started my career in '88, so this is was it 36?
Yeah.
And
wow.
I was a showbiz kid, and at that point, in '94, our record would have just come out.
It was right when it was coming out.
Yeah,
I
on
remember.
EMI Records.
And that band was all showbiz kids, right?
They were sons of famous musicians, myself and a keyboard player named Lou Segretti from Syracuse, New York. And, you know, the thing about that band, we got signed, you know, in the era of, we had peers, you know, every major label in town here, in New York City. I mean, they all had a blues rock band, an AOR blues rock band. It was like, I think Columbia had a band called Cry of Love, which featured Audley
Yes.
Freed. Then there was Damon Johnson's band. What's his? I'll think of it. It's early. I just sat down, and like the Archangels and all those, you know, Brother Kane. Damon
Brother
Johnson.
Kane.
Brother Kane. So they all had these kind of AOR blues rock positions, and we were EMIs. And you know, Joe Hardy, the late great Joe Hardy, produced the record. And you know, but when you're 16, I'm still in high school. I'm still in like 10th grade. You know, you know, there was press day, so I get to talk to people like you. And I didn't know.
I was shitting my pants.
I wasn't media trained. You know, I'm still not.
Wild
Why do you think I
horse.
get in trouble all the time? When it's stuff.
What
I
did
say.
you do? Like just leave, finish school on Friday, and then go do interviews with guys like Tom and do shows?
I went to a normal high school up until I was in 10th grade, and then I was tutored in grade 11 and 12.
So you could go rock.
Yeah, so they would truncate the school year from like, you know, early January to late February. So instead of gym class, I had to join a gym. And I remember this very clearly because in 95, my senior year was the year of the OJ trial. And all I did was, it was after I was tutored, my dad would drop me off at the gym, and I was supposed to, you know, do a regiment, but I would manage to find a corner in this gym in my little hometown, and all I would do is just slowly pedal the exercise bike and watch the OJ trial on CNN. It was like,
Oh wow.
I was like, you know, I watched it live when it says if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. I mean, I was like like
Was the
enamored
sound
by
on?
it, huh?
Was the sound on? And you
Oh
did-
yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was nobody in the gym, so it was just one of those things, and I remember that vividly watching.
Magical time of youth.
So you grew up.
A real education, you know, of things to come. Believe me.
You'll find it probably will only happen like 6 times during this interview. I'll bring everything back to Cheap Trick.
Okay.
You grew up in a music store, basically.
Not in a music
Well, not
store.
not like at
Jesus,
Guitar
Tom.
Center, like underneath the thing, but like.
That would be
Yeah.
But Rick, you know, Rick Nielsen's dad
Yeah.
in a music store too.
Yes.
And I think that formed his love. I mean, I guess you could go either way and never want to see another instrument again. But like, how did growing up in that world like train you or change your attitudes, or were you like very super precocious knowing like what a PAF was, or a, you know?
I knew my dad, you know, he had 2 stores, it was like a 10-year gap. He had a store, and then he quit, and then he had another store, and then he quit again. And, you know, we were,
It's because of the people who walk into guitar stores, right? It's the people.
It's well, you
It's
know,
us,
everything.
Tom.
You know, here's the thing about a guitar store. Okay, there are good. You know, and anybody who owns a store will tell you this. There are guitar store groupies and hangers on, meaning the people that come in every Saturday, and they're there at 11 o'clock. They have no intentions of buying anything, and all they do is ask silly questions about is you know, they'll say, is that a PAF?
banished.
Vanished.
Fucking talking about it's a PAF, sir, you know, and I had to field those questions, and I was young enough to where I didn't care, and I was my dad's free help when I was a kid, and I was also in Bloodline, and I enjoyed it. We would go to guitar shows. I mean, like this is why I didn't have a date at the prom. And like I was hanging around with old curmudgeons that were experts at skullduggery, and all they would do is go to these kind of like guitar show, trade show things in Philadelphia, and there's a church here on 12th Street in New York, and you know, and all these guitar shows and musicians flea markets, and these old, fat, balding men, which is now my core demographic. All they did was they had fanny packs full of $100 bills, and they would walk around buying Les Paul customs like around this table. And I was like, I don't know what kind of creepy shit's going on in here, but I want in. And and I'm like, so I liked it. I like buying stuff. So I've been buying stuff ever since I've been like 11, 12 years old. And the thing about buying guitars, and I do this every day, and now I'm being, I wake up at 47 years old. I'm one of the biggest guitar and amp collectors in the world. Is I'm cursed with the eye. I am cursed to see flaw, and I'm also cursed to see rarity. And the first thing I look for on something pedestrian is flaw. And then the next thing you know, if there's a room full of 20 guitars or a sign or an amp or something like that, I'm cursed. I go to the rarest thing in the room. I just see it first out of all of it.
Wow.
And
What's wrong with my guitar?
Yeah, please.
too new.
Too new.
Was it 88?
85.
Okay.
It was my first guitar. By the way, I bought a guitar from your dad at the New York City Guitar Show.
Did you?
Yes.
Do you still have it?
I really wish I did. It was like a 56 Les Paul refin.
In Sunburst,
Sunburst.
I remember that guitar.
Whoa.
I have a photographic memory. It was $3,300.
Is that what I paid?
Yeah, we had it marked 3,600. This is a true story. I'm not bullshitting you.
This is amazing.
It was $3,600. You paid 33. I remember.
And
I remember the guitar.
it was really good. It, had
It
no
was a tunematic.
frets.
It had no frets. It was a tunematic. I mean, now, people would salivate over that because that's a conversion candidate. There would be PAFs in that thing in 2 seconds.
I should have just refretted it, but I just was like, oh, this guitar is too hard to play.
But you remember that? Like, you remember those days when it was fun? Like a Princeton Reverb was $450. Like this refin Les Paul, like even if the Les Paul was straight, a straight gold top back then was like $5,000 or $6,000. It's still a lot of money, but it's not another zero before the decimal point. Now it's 50.
Yeah.
And back then in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, you were able to try a Whitman sampler of things for not a lot of money and to determine whether you liked it or not. And it's like, well, I don't really get on with the deluxe reverb. Let me try the twin. So you would just trade it in and would come back and maybe you'd kick the dealer $50 or whatever. And that was it.
You could buy a blackface twin and be like, nah.
Nah. Yeah. Then I'm like, I'm going to try one of these old Marshalls. Okay. And they were all comparably priced and it was fun. It's not painful. Like now everything has to be painful. Sorry. Now everything has to be painful. And I don't understand that, and every time you get into something, then you're like, oh, like Super Champs, my friend Charlie and I got into Super Champs about 2 years ago and we were getting them for $600-700. And then now they're two and a half.
But that's because you bought all of them. Right?
I didn't buy all of them. I have
None
two.
left.
I have one in my wardrobe case and one in my kitchen in Los Angeles.
Yeah, can I come back to the skullduggery for a second?
Yeah.
Because I was the person will remain nameless, although
Oh, come on.
I can't say it, but it's somebody.
Mike Hickey. It is
No,
Mike
So
Hickey.
he's-
It's not Mike Hickey, but the person I'm talking about is somebody you've bought a burst from.
Okay.
But was talking about how at the New York City guitar shows, like this one time, beyond just like the copious amounts of drugs like that everybody was doing, which you probably weren't, but
I wasn't there yet.
but that they literally bought like a fake Blackguard there, went back to their storage place, got a shitty tweed case, and sold it to Guitar Center like 2 weeks later. Like the amount, I feel like there was a lot of fake stuff floating around.
It's been.
But is there still?
Let me tell you something. Okay, I'm the young side of the OGs.
Right.
I was the kid at the guitar show. So I was 13, 14 at the guitar show, but I also had a set of eyes and people. It doesn't take about 5 minutes for people to tell you who they really are, and they can't help themselves but brag. So one of the grifts that used to happen is they used to take bad strats. Now there's been bad strats forever.
Like just sucky strats.
No, not sucky strats. Like refin custom colors that are, now they're 35-year-old refins, and there was, people aging them and doing really convincing colors.
I'm never letting you leave, by the way.
By the way,
This is my favorite conversation
Okay.
I've ever had in my life.
So you're talking about like guys like Jay Black and Jack Pigeon and all those guys that, Lay's Guitar Shop out in Ohio. They were doing great refins, like with the proper primer and everything. And sometimes, so when there's anything to do with money, we talking about a custom color Strat or a Sunburst Les Paul or a Flying V, there's tricks of the trade. So everything about vintage guitars is provenance. Okay, so if you got a black and white with some old man with a candy apple Strat, okay, cool. How can we deny the Polaroid? Well, here's how you do it: is you go to an old folks' home with an old Polaroid camera and a bad Strat, and you pay a guy $100 to take a picture with it.
Shut up.
Whoa.
That really happens?
I've watched it happen. I've watched people brag about it.
You're like, I did this.
Crazy.
I don't want to live in this.
This is
world.
amazing.
Okay,
That's like the best thing.
What happens when you have one real Flying V with a case and a fake Flying V without a real case? Goes into a hotel room in New York City or in Philadelphia or wherever it is, and the real Flying V gets put in the 70s case, and the fake Flying V gets put in the real case. Because why would you not believe the case is rarer than the guitar? Now you have two Flying Vs.
Well,
So the Latin term for this, and you learn this in being high school educated, you learn this is called caveat emptor.
Yes.
Buyer beware. So what you want to do, I literally just had a conversation with a friend of mine outside of this studio. That's why I was a few minutes late, about something that I knew about something that shouldn't be bought. So the thing is you have to, what's that cliche? The best authenticator for vintage guitars is yourself, and you go with your gut. And it's a binary thing. If there's something that you don't feel right about, don't buy it. You don't need it. I don't need a machine to tell me the guitar is right or wrong. I don't need a panel of experts. I don't need the fucking UN and a global mandate. Okay, if something feels off, run. You don't need it, because the ones that feel right they always give you the warm and fuzzies. It's like falling back on a mattress at the Four Seasons Hotel.
Have you ever bought something and then got it home and been like, wait a minute?
No. I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah.
Now, there are things that my friends that collect make fun of me for buying, Mike Hickey being one of them.
he makes fun of everybody for everything.
Mike Hickey makes fun of me because I went down the deep rabbit hole of Duosonics and Music Masters. I bought a bunch of them. I bought like 20 of them. I bought, because if they were mint and from the 50s, I was buying them like cheap.
Why does he make fun of you? Because you can't.
Because he's like, what are you
tap
gonna?
on them?
Because quote, what are you gonna do with that junk, right? And they're not junk,
Old.
right? But in my world, offsets. I collect mint versions of rare custom color Jaguars and Jazz Masters, and for two reasons. One, I think they're cool guitars. And second, I always like those ones as reference in case a Strat or a Tele shows up with the same color. So my foam green Jazz Master should be the same color as your foam green Strat. If we're not in the ballpark, I believe the Jazz Master. That's why I also collect Skylark lap steels from the 50s, 58 through 60. Anything in the burst serial number range stamp, because if you have a Flying V or an Explorer that has the same serial number as a $1,200 Skylark lap steel, which one do you believe? I believe the lap steel. They're clever, but they don't know everything, And you just have to be aware, because when you're a mark like me, like when I first started buying Sunburst Les Pauls, you're a mark. Oh, everybody's trying to sell you shit, But I was just lucky that I learned from people like Mike and my friends in the old guard that knew the burst facts. They just were like, this one had a Bigsby at one point, and the holes disappeared.
Right. How many of what is there? 1,800 of them, roughly.
Yeah.
I mean, how many would you say that of bursts? Like, how many would you say that you have? Not that you own. Well, I would like to know how many you own, but also how many you've come in contact with.
Okay, I can unpack that. I've probably come into contact with real ones.
Yeah.
250.
Okay.
Wow.
that I've handled. Just guessing.
Right.
250. I've owned 24. I currently own 16.
How many did you take on the road?
This tour I had 2 out. I had 259s.
Is your insurance rider like
It's fucked up because
Nielsen was telling me this? Like he had to stop with the Explorers and shit because the band were pissed because of his insurance rider.
well, you get a cap, you know. So I was over my cap on this last tour, and I'm like, I guess I sound so bougie and I don't know, whatever. I guess anybody's interested in this. I was over my cap because I brought 259 Les Paul standards and the Lowell George Dumble and 2 other Dumbles on that was the rig. And I was like, fuck it, you live once. And we had a flying V as well. So that was over the cap. But it's a lot of money to throw in a semi truck. And it's
Totally.
a lot of rare stuff you can't replace.
Yeah, of course.
So
Do you have like a guy with a machine gun or anything?
no. You know, I have the best insurance policy against theft in the world. And you know what that is? Instagram. Why do you think I socialize that? Why do you think I even came up with the brand Nerdville? Why?
Just put the gear out there.
That's a deep analysis. Critically think through that. Why in the world did you think that all you see on my Instagram and Facebook and all this is pictures of guitars and gigs, especially the guitar side?
Wow. I mean, you don't just like hanging with the people?
Oh, I love sharing. I love sharing the collection. It is the world's greatest theft protection. If you know the serial number and the guitar, and I go, hey, by the way, somebody stole my Flying V, serial number 83907.
That's Amos?
No, that's the trash bag one.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna ask that.
I'm sorry. Trash bag one.
That's the one that was found in leaning up against a corner with a bin liner on top of it in Sacramento. We pulled that out. That was 7-8 years ago.
Where?
Sacramento.
But where was it? Where was it?
You get like a hot tip? Like
Yeah.
Well, do you want to know the story?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the story. It was right before my 40th birthday. I bought a truck, a 34 Ford from my friend Kent Hale
Oh, that's cool.
in Seattle. And I got this weird idea that I was going to fly up to Seattle, have dinner with Trevor Boone and Jay Boone from Emerald City Guitars, my friend Kent. And then the next day, I was going to drive this truck 1,200 miles down the 5 to Los Angeles. This seemed like a great freaking idea until I got to Portland. So I'm
on fire.
well, yeah, and no AAA, and I'm just driving this thing with my friend Chris, and people are smaller in 34 too. So like the cab is really awkward, and we get to just below the California line. We were about to stop, so we did 600 per day. And I was at a gas station, one of the 15 times I filled up that day. And by the way, you can ship a car insured and bonded for like $1,500. But me driving it, I had about $1,000 in gas within the first 8 hours into this thing. So I get these pictures from Nick Conti at Guitar Center. What do you think? And there's like 12 pictures of a Fly V. I go, I think very highly of it. I go, where is it? It's in Sacramento. He goes, I'm flying up there tomorrow to look at it if you want to come with me. And I said, so, well, you know, Nick, I'm about 200 miles from Sacramento. I could just meet you at the store. So we plan our stop in Sacramento. And the next day we're supposed to meet Tara at about 1 o'clock. And we're just sitting there and nobody shows up. And it's about 2. And I'm like, dude, I got a tour starting in 4 days. And I got to, you know, sometimes these things are ghost stories. And next thing you know, one of the employees goes, Nick, your people are here. And then there she was with her mom. And it had a brown pleather gig bag that said Gino L. And the thing unzips. The horn comes out. You have me at hello. You don't have to authenticate anything. You have to turn a screw on this thing. It is a real V. And she thought it was worth $500. So she was in charge of cleaning out her uncle's house. Her uncle's name was Gino Landry, who was a gospel musician in the Oakland Bay Area, you know, San Francisco Bay Area. And she had a Selmer Mark VI saxophone that she sold to an unknown music store, a place I can't even figure out where she took it. And she sold it to a music store. The next day, she brings the V. Now, the V is in rotten condition. There's like 4 strings on it. The tuners are crumbled. The pots are frozen. The frets are roached, but it's real.
So this still exists.
It happens every day.
Like guitars surfacing still, like where people don't know what they're worth and they're like from the thing, like under the bed. Like,
yeah.
It's still happening.
And I'll preface this with a sidebar, is there is no honor, integrity in ripping people that don't know what their stuff is worth off. There's no. I know people that'll brag about it. So anyway,
you're kind of looking at me like I would be the kind of person who.
No, I'm telling you, is Tara sold the saxophone the day before for nothing, which was actually a valuable saxophone. The next day, she brings the Flying V to the same music store. She wants $500 for it. And they go, we don't really deal in this kind of stuff. Take it to Guitar Center. And that's how I got it. And she got $200,000.
Wow.
That's nice.
So everybody wins. And then we had people come in Dayton, Ohio this year at the Phrase Pavilion. This gentleman and his sister inherited this extremely rare, 1954 dual Esquire from their father. Had the original strings on it.
What's a dual Esquire?
A dual Esquire is basically a Telecaster that says Esquire on the head.
Oh, so that actually happened.
It actually happened.
Okay.
It had 2 pickups, factory 2 pickup. And, they just wanted a fair offer. And, and it's like, they're putting their trust in you. And I have to have, I don't do this to flip them to make money. I want everybody to be happy. Do I want to pay full shot? No. But I'm not, I'm not going to be cheap with something that's extraordinary.
We work the same way at Carmine Street. I build guitars at Carmine Street Guitars in the city, but Rick, who I've, learned under, he's very, very fair that way. He'll tell somebody not to buy something if he thinks it's not right or whatever, but that's cool though.
Yeah, and there's an integrity thing to it, and obviously as a store you have to make money. You got to make 35 points on the dollar, and that's just how business works. But
how does someone react when they think they're getting $500 and they get $200,000?
It's like Antiques Roadshow.
They just collapse.
It's like Antiques Roadshow. It's a combination of Antiques Roadshow and Shark Tank. And at first they're like, "Oh my God." And then they go, "Can you do any more?" I'm like, "Fuck off."
It's kind of embarrassing, but I have a luggage scale thing. Mm-hmm. To weigh guitars because I'm kind of obsessed with guitar weight.
Right.
I like how he answered, of course.
Of course.
Is reasonable.
Says the man with an 85 Les Paul Custom.
That has context. Yes, there's a reason it was in storage for 25 years.
Right, right.
But it's on too. Do there's with the reissues with the Murphy Lab Gibson bursts that they're making now. There's this, and I'm as guilty of it as anyone. I have one, whatever, and it was very important to me that guitar be less than 9 pounds.
Yep.
Do you, as somebody who owns 20 bursts, who's played a bunch of them, is the weight thing a real thing, or is it just all of people like me who have read a bunch of stuff being annoying? 2
best sounding Les Pauls that, in my humble opinion, that I've played, one I own, one I don't own. They both weigh identical, 9.5, both 59s. One is called Principal Skinner, a guitar that I've had for a long time. It's called the Skinner Burst in the Burst world. And the other one was called The Beast, owned by Bernie Marsden.
Oh.
2 of the best sounding Les Pauls I've ever played with PAFs are those 2 guitars, and a PAF Gold Top, which is 8 pounds. So on one hand, you have 2 9.5,
right?
2 Les Pauls that are 9.5, and one that's 8 pounds. They both sound, they're both exceptional. All 3 of them are exceptional. Never shy away. I mean, anything over 10, you're gonna feel it, But this notion, the lighter the better, I don't buy it.
So your tellies don't have to be under 7 or
I
anything?
don't care. Yeah.
Okay.
Like blackguards. I mean, if you get a light broadcaster, like I'm lucky, I have a light broadcaster. That's your.
How heavy is the bludgeon?
bludgeon? That's a 51.
It's his guitar with a neck humbucker.
It's a 51 no caster with a PAF in it, and that one's, I don't know, probably 7.5.
So you do weigh them?
I'm guessing.
You guessing?
Yeah.
So I really should stop weighing shit
Well,
and maybe play more.
it's not a pre. Well,
I disagree.
this is the thing, and I have to preface this because you're talking to what the internet perceives as the king cork sniffer. Okay,
Dude, I started a guitar aficionado, so there's no.
you yeah, exactly. But I was for years, like when you didn't put me in your magazine. Okay, for years I'm like going, dude,
Wait, what?
I'm the guy.
We put you in.
Couple of times.
Yeah.
Not enough.
Couple of
I
times.
left after. I left after.
Yeah,
10.
I can tell you what's not framed in my house is a cover of Guitar Aficionado. It's not. I'll tell you.
Shit.
Just I'm sitting there going with all the
This is
verses. I'm like, what
awkward.
the fuck? Anyway, not that I
I left in
grudge.
2013.
Okay. Okay. Good. Oh, okay. There was a
Nice
gap.
save.
Nice save.
Blame the other.
Yeah.
I'm glad that I managed to scratch away enough to find a resentment, though.
Oh, dude! Listen, I'm the most balanced guy in rock and roll. I got chips on both of my shoulders. It doesn't take much. Let's talk about Rolling Stone magazine. Anyway, the thing about all of that is you have to understand that it doesn't matter what you have in your hands. It could be the Les Paul Custom. It could be a Les Paul Studio. It could be a Strat. It could be a Squire Strat. It could be a custom shop Strat. It could be Leo's First. It's the player. It's not the gear makes you play. It inspires you to play. I mean, I just it's just one of those things that the tone is in your hands.
We've had this conversation before.
I don't want to believe
I was
this.
just saying that.
There's no solution then. You can't buy your way out of it.
You can try.
I know.
You can buy. I tell you what, you can buy your way out of a good sound. Like if you're happy with your rig, just leave it. Don't upgrade. I mean, all I know is there's a few things that I do specifically to any amp or guitar that I like. I like a stout speaker. I don't like too much. My kryptonite is compression and gain. Too much gain, too much compression. The articulation goes away. I'm shut down. And that's always been my kryptonite. So if I'm playing a Pro Junior, or if I'm playing a Les Paul like yours, there's tricks you can do with the volume to get it to articulate and stay with less gain, and that's it. You don't need a dumble and a burst and all this shit. You really don't.
Easy for you to say.
Well, I'm a collector. See, that's the thing. I collect stuff because I enjoy collecting.
That was one of my questions. Guitars and music separate, right?
Totally separate. Totally separate. Wouldn't it have been really fucking weird if I walked in with a size 40R Hugo Boss, okay, a pair of sunglasses and my hair slicked back? It would have been really weird.
Like your stage thing?
Yeah, like if I got in the Uber like that, it'd be there'd be HR complaints. It'd be that's a character.
Right.
That whole thing is a character that I play on stage. It's an extension of my personality, but it is a character. I'm a guitar nerd, I'm wearing two free things: a Keeping the Blues Alive t-shirt and a Red Rock sweatshirt. Okay, I'm not, I collect guitars because I enjoy them. I use the guitars because I feel that if I don't play them on stage, why am I doing this? I don't use them because they sound exponentially better than a new one. Nothing sounds exponentially better than any other one. You could take the cheapest Les Paul or the most expensive. All kind of gets there.
Does your on stage persona, do you feel much like when you're doing some gigs with Osnoy this week here in the city?
Was it Tuesday, Wednesday? Yeah.
Do you persona for a club gig?
No. I'm already dressed for tomorrow.
So
I'm dressed for rehearsal tonight and tomorrow.
when did you decide? Because that's like I think a blues guy. I like that you wanted to look proper on stage.
I feel I have a responsibility to look better than my audience. And, you know, my producer, Kevin Shirley, when we started selling places, you know, some bigger clubs, and he goes, Joe, you look like a slob. He goes,
And he's got that accent too.
yeah, you gotta be a star. So I at the time only had enough money to go to like, you know, to buy some like slightly charred, you know, Sears and Roebuck, you know, ill-fitting suits, but in the concept was there. And then I bought one nice suit and I was like, okay, this works. And the whole persona changed. I became a different artist, like literally overnight.
I agree. If people are leaving the house, put on something nice. Take a shower. Things like that. Try.
You try like hard. I mean, you have like, you know, Dave like has special jumpsuits and like.
Well, because I also figure, you know, what am I waiting for? Like, now.
Right.
Do it now. Like, when am I going to wait? There may not be an upgrade in my career. I got the jumpsuits for an arena tour, but whatever.
I think you got a great lane with the Winnipeg Jets.
This is my undercover. I'm just trying to seem relatable right now.
No, I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I
that's an 80s one too.
Yeah. This is like, I like a kind of like low grade kind of fan, very flammable jersey. We'll be in trouble if you don't play any guitar.
Yeah, would you?
But we'll be in trouble if
Can you play us out? Like,
we're not leaving, are we?
I don't know.
This is just our.
It doesn't look like you.
There's also a 50. There's an R6 and an 85. Give me this fucking. I got that at Manny's in 1985.
If you would,
it was my first guitar. For
Do you want to wager a guess who owns the original Manny sign that was on the building?
Mike Hickey.
I do.
Nice.
What am I playing through?
A little spark.
Sounds
Positive grid spark.
Want me to play out?
Yes.
Yeah. That was these are those pickups that everybody's crazy about. I had to find them to put them back in this.
What are they again?
Tom Holmes.
The other guy.
Oh.
I said it earlier. But
I
anyway.
knew what it was.
Yeah.
They need the pickups. What are those pickups? In there.
I didn't.
Tim Shaw.
Tim Shaw, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Tim works at Fender now.
Yeah, I had to, because I had EMGs in here from when I was into Zach Wild. Replacing the Tim Shaws cost me more than the guitar.
Right.
What do you think about that guitar? Just an honest assessment.
You can rule the world with this thing. Sounds great.
But honestly, just something that could get inside Tom's head.
Good frets. Whoever put the frets in did a good job.
My buddy John. He's very good. That's Sawmill Guitars. He just did it. Literally just did it.
Yeah, a lot of times when you get them refretted, they feel stiff for like the first 6 months. This feels great. Right.
Yeah, he
bat.
knocked this one out of the park.
No, this is a great guitar. It's a legacy piece, Tom.
Yes. And you can see like there's the flaw, right? See, from the hanger.
Yeah. Why not?
I did everything bad to this guitar, dude.
You didn't break it though.
Didn't break it. How big is the Joe Bonamassa organization? Like because you're totally self-contained, right?
When we tour, we're 32 people. Our office is 21. So when we tour, it's like 52, 53 people.
You got a nut, my friend.
Yeah, I got 4 buses, 3 trucks. Okay. And we live in inflationary times. I've been lucky. All I can tell you it's been, I've been lucky, and it does take a village though. It does take a village to keep everything. It's we're a vertically integrated business, meaning that we are the merch company, we are the touring company, we own the record company, we own our publishing, we own everything under the sun. And I have an agent here in the US that does festivals and special projects, but for 15 years I didn't have an agent. We book our own shows, we promote our own shows. The thing is a lot of people ask about the business model, and the business is our business is betting on ourselves, and we don't know any other way.
Was it like was the end of the Sony deal when you were basically decided like no more depending on?
Well, I figured out in probably 2002 that I don't want to ever be. I don't want to have my entire career, based on the fate of some A&R person or some agent. It's just my manager and I been together for 34 years, and it's like we're the same kind of crazy. We're crazy, but we're the same kind of crazy. And that's why we work.
Like, what defined that crazy?
We're mavericks, in the sense that like we'll do it ourselves, and only recently have we even flirted with the terrestrial music business, because they've kind of come to us going, "You guys have lived in a bubble. How'd you do it?" It's like, well, this is how you do it. And my manager is a world-class marketing guy. Everything's marketing and keeping the air in the balloon. And the worst thing about being a successful musician is not knowing how you got there and what got you there, and not knowing why it goes down. And in my mind, it's like you always have to keep the quality up, and you always have to keep the I don't know. You keep the quality up, and you just keep at it, and keep doing the same things that got you there, that keep the fans engaged. So,
Oh, there he is.
Oh shit.
So wait,
Charvel's, as far as the eye can see.
Oh my God, it's Mike Hickey. Mike worked as Joe's tech.
He was my guitar tech for over 10 years. It was 2011 to 2022.
And facilitated this episode, right? On some level.
Yes.
Best publicist ever.
Well, I like to give.
Right. We were just talking about Charvels, and I was saying, do you have any Charvels? And I was like, no, the one I did have, I gave to Mike.
Yeah, I still call it our Charvel, just to be polite.
He also revealed that he owes you money.
I owe him money for the Hamer, the standard.
Well, Dave, he can accept like $20 of that.
Yeah, I'll just have to download Zelle
over time.
I'll get with you on Zelle.
Yeah, or any app you can get your hands on.
So, what was the hardest part of teching for Joe Bonamassa?
Watching him buy all the cool shit when I could only buy brass parts.
The best one was New Orleans. This had to be 2019. We were playing the Sanger Theater. We get kind of a tip that there's the guy, I forget his name, from International Vintage, really nice guy. He's got a really nice 60 burst, and we go there on a Saturday, and the price had a 2 in the first number, and I just made a kind of a low-ball-ish offer, and he took it.
You went under 2?
I offered him 150 for it. Oh. And he said, cool. And we take the guitar, and Mike's at the time looking at a bunch of books, right? Now I just spent a significant amount of money in a store. He's looking at a bunch of books, and Mike goes, hey buddy, how much you want for these books? And this guy charges Mike what the number was on the book back in like 1985, like full retail.
Yeah, it was like it ended up being like $72.
Right.
And I'm like, really, dude? And I mean, to further the story, we jump on the bus. We close the deal. I mean, my feelings are hurt. That happens a lot. And
so you're still like buying Mel Bay books and like.
Dude, I just had the same thing happen a week ago out in Massachusetts. The dude wanted to charge me full pop for these dusty old books, and it was taking too long. Then I told him the burst story. So we get on the bus. Joe's got his guitar. He's like, oh, yeah, my favorite guitar I ever bought. And I open this burst book, and there's the guitar, but it's got double white pickups in the photo. Oh. Meanwhile, there's covers on this thing. So I'm like, here's your guitar, Joe. Check it out. Tear the page out. Here's my little gift to you. After so now I've got $71 in the books. and so we go back to the gig, and Joe's like, get those covers off. Let's go. So we pop the covers. Dude shows up, and he's like, whoa, that thing had double whites? I didn't know that.
Oh.
And it's in the book that you just overcharged me for.
Yeah. I'm glad this didn't end with it not having double whites.
Well, yeah, I mean, the only thing that could have been better is a couple of good old, Super Ds in there, right?
Just so everybody knows, double white means that both of the coils on the pickup are white. Not everybody out there.
And they never
I
intended
knew.
for you to see them. That was the thing. They soldered those covers on, and they just misordered the bobbins. So Gibson never thought there would be anything like double whites. It never even thought it was a thing. Even in the 70s, they didn't think it was a thing until Larry DiMarzio bought the patent for it.
You want to hear a funny story?
What?
It's probably not true, and I'll get sued. But when Jimmy Page was doing one of his custom shop runs, I was still at Guitar Aficionado, so 2010, 11, 12, 13. They wanted to do double whites for something.
Yeah, number 2 had double white in the back.
They they had to go ask Larry DiMarzio if they could do a double white.
He owns a trademark.
And you know what he said?
No.
Whoa.
I think he said something other than no.
You can do double creams. You can't do double whites. There's a whole fine line of what other pickup manufacturers can do, because you can buy double whites. They can be sealed and you can pop them. And then there's double creams. It's a very specific color that they own. That is the color of the original pickups. So.
Is Mike ever nice?
Always.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Dude,
I sent him a text the other day, and literally the text back, what he said was garbage.
Well, yeah. Hey, Mike says what you need to hear. That's what I like.
Garbage.
It's direct. It's direct.
I just like to get straight to I don't need a whole sentence, right, to answer your question.
I was like,
Here's a little fact about double whites that everyone misconstrues. So DiMarzio, who I love their pickups, and so they own double cream. Okay? Double whites on a Gibson 50s Les Paul and or Birdland, 345, you name it. They are actually bone white, okay? They're not cream at all. So if Gibson, really wanted to push the issue.
I think they've done it now. I think they did it.
Oh, good. Well, I mean, the fact that they even let someone take the trademark of PAF away from them.
This is going to all end badly for us.
Is this the last episode of Axe Lord?
No, every episode could be the last episode.
We tack on a where are they now thing to each episode just to be safe.
I'm going to send these guys an amp. Mike, I'm going to send them a real amp for this thing.
For this place?
For this podcast. For when you get ambushed, I'm like, hey, you got to play something. I'm like, what am I?
What do they got? Like, what are you playing through?
What was the reply to Tom's text?
Garbage.
Thanks.
Oh man.
That's what I'm playing through.
We were just trying to do it so we don't have sound in the room because then you got to mute the lab.
Oh, and what a tragedy that would have been. Oh my God.
God, I'd hate to have to
Guitars
mix
in
this
the
down.
room. A guitar podcast.
Does he know about as much about bursts as you?
Oh
do?
my God, he's the burst whisperer. I defer to him.
Or the burst yeller.
Yeah. No, Mike. I would wager a large sum to say that Mike Hickey, in my opinion, is probably the world's foremost expert on authenticating sunburst Les Paul.
More than Uncle Lou?
I think. Well,
Who's kind of retired?
yeah. I mean, as far as having an archive and a knowledge and the eye. Remember when I was telling
Yes.
you, like my eyes go to flaws? I learned a lot of that from him. And
saying that, the only other person who knows probably as much as me is Joe, because in tandem we're handling all this stuff over the years, and then like two old guitar gossipers, even yesterday, in come a bunch of photos from Joe, like, oh, put this on the list, you know.
yeah, I also send him lap steel serial numbers that correspond to Explorer Flying V's for the list. It's like what it's, and then
What's the list
there's a list.
of
I have a list.
like to get into
there's
like
a
Studio
list-
54 of guitars?
No, there's a list.
You mean like guitars you're after that are out in the
No,
wild?
good guitars. There's
Oh,
a
there's
list
like a list of, and it's a list of bad
known
ones?
known vetted sunburst Les Pauls.
Got it.
And the thing is, those, you know, the wives' tales out there is that these ledgers from the factory are missing all of a sudden, and everyone thinks someone has it, and they've got it tucked in their, you know, in their trench coat next to the watch they're going to sell you, and it doesn't exist. So, for 20 years, I've been making a list. So I'm keeping all the 58, 59, 60 serial numbers and what model it is, maybe who owned it, maybe if it's got a neck repair or some other body parts that are buried. And so I'm hoarding this information.
It would seem to me that if somebody's about to buy a $350,000 guitar, they might pay you like $5,000 just to check the list.
That's it.
10?
Come on. We're moving into a new administration.
You would honestly, you would be surprised at how many people dive off the cliff without asking a question and then bitch and moan about finding issues. They're like, dude, you have my phone number. You have Mike's phone number. You know what I mean? Because like I defer. Everybody's like, hey, I'm looking at this burst. You know, can you tell me if it's like what's up with it? I said like, well, I prima facie, I could tell you that it's probably a real guitar. If you want to in the macro, pay him.
Plus, you don't need that hassle.
No, I don't want to get involved. I really don't want to get involved. It's like very rarely do I get involved in that because it's like, you know, it's a he said, she said, and then, you know, it's like I just don't care. If it's something about a guitar I used to own, fine, I'll tell you what I know.
It's a touchy thing because now, you know, basically you're buying a house.
Right.
Yeah.
But guitar people don't want to pay anybody. But like if you go buy a house, you got to pay the real estate broker, right?
You pay an inspector.
Pay the
You pay the
inspector.
inspector, you get the electrician in, the roofing guy, right? You know, you pay for all the permits and whatever. And then in the guitar world, it's like, oh no, this thing's fine, man. Oh, you don't need to look at it.
That's my other idea for you guys. How about a burst buyer's permit?
Well, first of all, you know,
Joe is going to
eliminate a lot
leave,
of
and the
people.
first thing he's going to do,
Burst buyer's permit?
Wait,
he's
what
going
do you-
to, where you guys just feel like you guys are allowed to have a burst.
No. Let me tell you something.
You're going to leave. You're going to
Like-
text
like,
Hickey like, what the fuck did you get me into with
Listen,
these people?
I
What do
mean,
you-
they used to FedEx money, cash in boxes for these things. Be like, and
Yeah.
it's a weird world. We've talked about it, and present company included, him and I. If you asked the most fucked up Hollywood script writers to come up with a cast of characters, eccentric, esoteric, like just, you know, weird and you know, just unicorn type of people, they could not even touch or scratch the surface of the people that surround the Sunburst Les Paul world. It just
you'd have to have the casting call on North Gardner in and Sunset, you know.
and it's like the people I've met, just the kind of statements I've heard, and just this, you know, in the way friends for 40, 50 years they have no problem, you know, screwing each other over on deals, and it's like, you know, the grudges, and it's like it's a wild world. Once you get invited into it, it's pretty wild. It's not warm and fuzzy. It's a little.
Well, look, I mean, that's why Mike has, you know, definitely developed some defenses. I think
Defenses.
Yeah.
That's what you call them.
Well, what was that junk you wanted me to look at?
Oh, it was a piece of junk.
What was it?
I just
You
like
solved it yourself.
a friend of mine who's has a guitar store. Just was like, somebody was like brought in a Charvel to sell, and he was like,
junk.
and he texted me and he's like, "Is this worth anything?" And I looked at it, I'm like, "I don't think so. Let me text my friend." So I text Mike, and it's like a Japanese Charvel. I just wanted to know if it was $1,000 guitar or $2,000 guitar, just some help. You know, and like I literally text him the photo, and I just get back garbage, and I'm like on the fucking security line at the airport, like with my coat on, I'm like sweating and shit, and I'm like just like trying to like fucking get the information to the other guy like smoothly, and I just get garbage, and I'm like, fuck. And
I don't think I've ever sent Mike a Charvel in the wild that he's approved of. I don't know what I'm looking at there.
I've never sent him anything. Oh, but you know what? I got him back the other day. He sent me. Remember, you sent me a picture, and I said, "Is that from the Samick Custom Shop?" I thought that was
Oh, cold.
Well, you know, I hope to one day attain a small Samick collection,
I believe in you.
and then I would send them down to Cindy to get them modded with the ever-loving Kaler trim.
Yes. And some pyrography.
Yes, of
Some
course.
Stevie Salas guitars with pyrography.
How come you guys aren't wielding your Charvels today?
We brought different guitars today. This is my first guitar. There's a thing.
That's your first guitar?
Yeah. 85. Bought at Manny's in 85.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have a paper route or something?
I did. I did Berlitz, you know, because I'm fluent in French. I did the Berlitz French tape. I was Pierre.
Oh, okay.
These were
He had a very-
85. Let me
There we
guess.
can't
This
get into
was
it. Donna Strauss.
$12.95.
This is the thing, because they couldn't sell them.
That was what they listed for, $12.95.
It was $550 because they could not get rid of the Les Pauls. It was pre-slash.
Nobody. Yeah, they were dead.
Yeah, dead. So I like literally walked in there with my mom, and I was like, black Les Paul custom.
You didn't go with John the Coil?
No, but yeah, $550.
Yeah.
Out the door at Manny's. New. Like, it was really dead.
Free insults.
Yes.
He always bought a guitar and got a free insult.
Mike, do you have anything else you want to tell us about Joe?
I mean, do you want dirt or something?
No.
God damn it, Mike, no.
Because I don't really have any. I mean, what do you want me to say? Do you want me to fluff him up, or
I want to know if you've ever seen him kill someone for a guitar.
Well,
Reasonable
he has a certain
question.
approach, which I've absorbed in doing when I'm purchasing, because, you know, we want this instrument,
Right.
right? But we have to walk away. So the first part of the approach is you write the number down on a card or a piece of paper. You slip it to the dealer guy.
Oh, you
then
like
he gets
press.
all in kerfuffle. And then, you know, we give up. But then we got to go back and get it. So we'll pay that extra thing, or we'll buy the Samick to get the deal done, you know?
You got to throw in the grudge buy. You
Yeah,
bundle
so,
it and then dump the other thing that you don't want.
We're getting
Yeah,
the
the grudge buy is like, I mean,
What's that, like you buy some amp you don't want or something?
Listen, I almost did this, and there's a store in Cleveland.
What store? I'm from Cleveland.
It's Highland Music, and I was buying a bunch of stuff from him, and it was just the prices were it was tough. It was a tough chisel, and he took the opportunity to try to bundle in literally a room of custom amps, the padded amps. He had like 40 of them.
Oh, that's the guy way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
Highland music.
Or it's maybe
It's not Soja music, is it?
No, it's either Highland.
What is he called? It's the bald guy.
Timeless Guitars.
Timeless Guitars.
Timeless.
Highlands and Birmingham,
I
Alabama.
figured it had to be Timeless.
It was Timeless Guitars, and I was buying like a 335, some nice stuff from him. I've always bought nice stuff from Clyde, and he tried to bundle in. He goes, Joe, you really should take my collection of customs, and he brings me in this back room, and there's like 40 of them. I'm just sitting there going, fuck me, I don't want anything to do with this, and I'll pay more. I think we paid more and we left because I don't want the amps. But
we paid for the amps and left them there.
Exactly.
I got a 38 Gibson lap steel from him.
He's always had nice stuff.
Yeah.
Clyde's a legend, man. He's one of the.
But that place is really interesting. You've been in there, Dave?
Yeah, many times.
Okay, so we joke about taking Danny down in the basement at Guitar Center, right?
Sure, of course.
So when you go in that place, you're in the little shop, but then you go through this
Yeah, to put a cigarette out on his arm.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I did it yesterday.
Yeah.
And you go down there and you feel like the doors are gonna shut.
It's like Pulp Fiction. There's gonna be like the gimp in the basement.
Yes. And one time I was down there, and there's a little repair room, and I didn't know anyone was down there. And this guy comes around the corner. It was like, the guitar repair gimp came out of the shadows. Scared the hell out of me.
You look like Marty Feldman.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times Clyde doesn't leave the lights on down there. So you're trying to find the light switch.
Yeah. That's always a good thing to go there. I bought an Aria there once just to steal the tuners.
I saw something yesterday, and then we're going to wrap this up with something pointless from me. That there's a Fernandez Brad Gillis signature model from 1985.
Yes.
I saw that yesterday, and I texted Dave about it, and he just went, no. And I was like, I'm not buying it. I just think it's interesting. And he's just like, no.
Yeah, but you guys are
Nothing wrong with Brad. He's a great guy.
No, it was just the guitar. Like,
He knew I was on
we usually text each other stuff with no explanation, and the question is usually, should I get this?
Right.
So I assumed he was asking me that.
Right.
When I rarely say no. I think I've said no about 3 times.
Yeah, that was sad. Dude.
Yeah, well, you guys are, you're so obsessed with DeMartini that we can't even get Brad Gillis on the bill.
I know. I just thought it was a cool guitar. But, Joe.
You know what it's good for?
It was cool.
What?
They usually have this early Floyd because
It does. It has the
non-tuning.
Yeah.
And Fernandez made the Floyds in 1982. And it would also have Gotoh Chevron tuners, which were on early Charvel. So I would part that son of a bitch.
It's worth more dead than
5
alive.
seconds.
It's worth more dead than alive.
So every Fender lap steel is worth more dead than alive.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
And some Gibsons.
I like it. So guys, I'm getting the high sign from the window. Thank you. So my first interview as a guitar journalist was with you. Probably this will be
the last.
I'm probably I'm gonna walk out here and get fired. Probably so.
I've been canceled 7 or 8 times. So this is just old hat for me.
It was truly awesome to have you here.
Yeah,
I spent a lot of time watching you on the Insta worlds.
Yeah.
And living through you.
In YouTubes.
Yeah. I try to put out the fake news once a day.
Have to.
If you guys want to make a list of anyone you want me to ruin, coming on your show, just send me the list. I'll make some statements. We'll make sure they never want to come.
The other list. Perfect. Mike, thank you so much for hooking this up too. This was great.
Yeah, of course.
This was the best.
I do what I can. I give back
ever.
to the guitar community.
We'll get you some sushi.
Yeah.
We'll send you blue ribbon. Send you
know
spicy,
where we're going.
spicy tuna roll.
Blue ribbon.
All right. Cool,
Okay.
man.
All right, guys. Thanks
All right.
for having me.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you, Joe.
So you guys
Thank
later. I'm
Mike.
gonna
Can you
drive
rip us
away
one?
now.
Can you rip us
Oh,
one?
oh my!
one,
Oh, look at this! You're missing this. Amazing.
Is it imposing?
What?
Did you want one of your? No.
What?
Thank you.
Fuck.
Oh, nice Floyd at the end.
Best day ever. Thank
And then
you so much.
just paste in the Axel's explosion sound, and we'll be done.